Okay, members, we have started our session. And I want to welcome all of you to this session. And we welcome all the members. We are having our Uganda Vocational Qualifications Framework or DIT training on website developer and computer application user in the mornings and website developer in the evenings. And this is a program that we are running, Shareability Uganda and Eastern School of Computing. And we want to welcome all the colleagues that are enrolled into the program. This evening, we are going to be having a discussion on design website layout. And just as before you get to start breaking the soil when you are building a house, you don't just get the axe and the hose and other tools and you start. You have to first plan. There is some planning that is needed. So yesterday we looked at planning website development, but then after planning, then you really have to if it is a house plan, before building the house, the client contracts a contractor, they have a meeting, and this one tells him the requirements. I want a house. It must be a solid building. It must be this. This one gives him the bill. That was what we looked at yesterday. And there's a problem. Then from there, there's designing, interior design, and the design must be visualized before the actual work. So today we are looking at designing, and then after that we shall go into developing a website. And we are going to be having Ms. Aogisha is going to be taking us through. But before Ms. Aogisha comes in, I want to invite Ms. Adumba to give a welcome remark, maybe some greeting, and then we shall be getting into the session. Ms. Adumba, are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you, Rogers. Am I clear, Rogers?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to thank Rogers and Wagisha for running this program. And I want to welcome John, Ajak John, Aloro Isaac, Shakira Namatar, Hussein PC, I don't know Hussein PC, but I know John Bosco Chepa, Stuart. Stuart is with Thomas. You people, thank you so much for supporting this initiative. But most importantly, I want to really, you people, I want you to help me thank Rogers and Wagisha Dennis for running this. Personally, I am passionate about what is going on. I'm really happy that it is happening. I really want to be part of this, but because of my busy schedule, I find myself that I found that I wouldn't run this, and I'm glad that Rogers came up with an idea and he created a good team. Another good news is that from DIT, our portal is now active, and it means that anytime we are going to be registering our students. And once again, like I said, I'm a bit occupied. Rogers has the logins to the portal, and he will be in charge of registering us. And much as I'm here, while I am teaching in the morning session, truth be told, I am also a student. I'm going to be one of those who are going to sit for this DIT, the DIT exam. Should I call it an exam or assessment? So thank you so much, Rogers, once again. And thank you so much, Dennis, for running this program. Thank you so much. Those are my words for now. Rogers? Over to you, Rogers.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Adum. Yes, are you hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Rogers.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Dumba, for those kind words. And in the new curriculum, the teacher is also a learner, actually. Every day is a learning experience as we go to classes. So we want to thank you very much for running this. So members, for those who attended yesterday, we some assignments on Google Classroom, and we are going to be loading more, even for other modules. But we shall be, our target is by Friday to have, by Saturday, by weekend, when we have done those assignments, so that we can have a recap. On the weekend, we shall be having a recap of the various modules that we have covered during the week. So I would like to encourage the members to go to the Google Classroom, and then you can be able to join a class. Let me just share something small here. As I wait for members, and we are going to be starting shortly. So this is the one for web design. Then there is also the one for computer application users. So when you go to Google, you just log into your Gmail. I know I may be assuming that everyone knows Google Classroom when the others don't know. So you will find this part where there is Classroom. When you go to your Gmail, you click on Classroom. Yeah, in this palette, or you can just search for Google Classroom on Google. Okay. Then you can use this class code. There is this class code, so you can just use the code to join. So if you are new there, you can just click on the plus sign to join a class if you have not yet joined. So you can go to, let me just quickly so you just go to for me I have very many Google Classrooms. So there's this plus at the top. So you click on plus and then you say join class. Then after that, you put in the class code. Please take note of the class code. I'm going to paste it in the chat as well. So that is a quick way for you to join the class. So class, and then from there, you click on join. Okay. Now for me, I'm a teacher in the class, so it will fires up here. So you are going to find several. You click on the classwork tab. The classwork tab, you'll be able to find assignments that and resources from yesterday. The business plans and other materials have been uploaded there for you. And there are some of these are not going to be on WhatsApp group. Yeah, so the ATP is there, the fees and other materials we are going to be loading there. Then Mr. Dumba has talked about the photo. I'm already logged in here, and we're just ready to start registering you members. We want to register this week, and then we have been talking to people from DIT. We have a contact person who is going to be we are liaising with soon assessment, and then we shall be able to also schedule our physical workshop before the day of assessment. So I'm here in the portal for Eastern School of Computing. Yeah, so we are going to be registering the candidates like we announced in the morning. Maybe there are some of you who never who were not there in the morning. So we shall be registering you and adding the candidates there. Yeah, so we are going to create a form. I think we are going to be sharing it tomorrow, which you are going to use to submit for us the details that we need. Okay, so I don't want to spend much time. I know time has already moved. I want to call Mr. Ogisha at this time to come. We shall have other announcements at the end. Yeah, so Mr. Ogisha, please. Mr. Ogisha, I hope I've not been breaking.
I don't know. Thank you very much, Senior Rogers and Senior Dumba. Colleagues present, I want to greet you all in the loving name of Jesus Christ. Hey, Teacher Rogers, can you hear me?
Personally, I can hear you.
Thank you very much. I'm very glad. I thought I couldn't be heard. So, colleagues, in a special way, I want to appreciate you, especially those who attended yesterday. In the same continuation, I have had the privilege today to share with you something briefly in line with designing website layout. Allow me share the screen to share the theory briefly, then we get to the practical. Now, having had a successful meeting with the client, and hopefully with a good interaction, and then maybe later on you have compiled a proposal for them to give you the contract of a website, we want to take an assumption that the client has given you the job offer and you're the one to take up the business venture of giving him website or powering their brand. As we continue with the presentation, somewhere colleague is not hearing me, I would want to have some feedback through the chat, though we shall have an interactive session. So we are taking assumption that we have won the venture and now it is our role to design a website. So before we then design a website, we then have to plan a very good design layout. First, in this presentation, we're supposed to cover about one, setting up design software. Then two, we need to share about the basics in creating brand identity, look at how to create website mockups. Yesterday, we covered occupational health standards. These may cut across. So if you missed the previous presentation, I would encourage you to retrieve the video through. Maybe we can share the slides we utilized yesterday having occupational health standards. So what does website layout entail? Our website layout entails the arrangement of visual elements on a website. It defines the structure of the website and oftentimes provides users with a clear path for navigation through pages. The goal of website layout is to help you, the user, help the stakeholders have a good engagement, like to engage. If you're the developer, you engage the client to know how the website will look like, then thus try to delete the times when they will ask you to repeat designing a web page in the case you completed it out. Now, the key main components in a website layout, of course, include headers, the body, navigation menu, and then the website footer. Just have a simple demonstration. These are just a few example use cases. You can implement a layout, taking this design, you can have this, and oftentimes it is not your preference, but we are always guided through the process by the web browser, rather by the web user, the client. with experience, some clients have developed websites, have always not had any knowledge about the layout, but we have always guided them on various layouts, and then they choose preferably what they would have to utilize. So our goal would be achieving something like this, looking at how we can come up different arrangement, how we can arrange various elements to come up for cohesive design. But first, let us begin on setting up a design software, because I said the first is look at how we set up design software. Before you implement a layout, you need to make a choice of the software to utilize. Just a little bit. So in choosing design software, there are very many dynamics that are involved. Of course, web design software would mean program that would help us in designing or building the layout. You can see these are very many examples. You could be wondering, I want to advise that if you look at this list, don't be misled to think they do the same work. WordPress software, Adobe Dreamweaver, Adobe Illustrator, Adobe InDesign, Adobe XD, Wondershare Hydro, Figma. These are some of the examples of design software. We'll be establishing which one you use at which stage during the web design layout. So let us get started with first part under setting up design software, having known that software follows the programs we're going to use to design and the examples, without even knowing which one does what and does which. So what is that factor you always put in when you are choosing software? Now, it is important that while we are guiding learners during the training sessions, we help them know the procedure, the factors they have to factor in when making choice of their software. Some other people will always override learners and tell them always use this program. But to just mention a few, these are some of the requirements you can take in consideration. Like perhaps first of all, reviewing the user requirements. User requirements would include the type, the purpose of the software. What do you want to do with the software? Then after knowing what you want to do with the software, you identify the tools that can satisfy your requirements. Which devices are you going to use? Perhaps if you're having a laptop, which specification does it have? Does it fit the required software? And then the other factor is the operating system. Once you have the laptop, the choice of the design software you're going to use can depend on the operating system, the Windows you have, and then probably license the design software. Okay? Then you want to use Adobe Illustrator. Maybe you have a laptop that supports Adobe Illustrator. The operating system for then Illustrator should be compatible with the Illustrator. I'll be giving a case study. And before we move to install, actually, let us combine these two to save time. So in getting software, first you look at the requirements that I've phrased, and then the procedure in installing. Allow me end this show. Again, share my browser here. So I share the screen completely. Okay. Now, I don't know whether you can see my screen. Can I get some feedback? Teacher Ajak, are you able to see my screen?
I can see your screen, sir.
Oh, thank you very much for the feedback then.
Can as well see your screen.
Very good. So how do you obtain software? Just in case we have factored in the user requirements. And let's imagine you want to get Adobe XD. What is the function of Adobe XD? What are you going to use it for? Just to pick some comment. If say you want to make a design layout in terms, just quickly again. I want to connect this with you. In the examples here, if you recall, I did mention about creating elements like this, earliest. If you want to design these ones, then the choice of the software you're going to use depends on this task you're going to create. But just to give a general way of obtaining software, if you wanted to get Adobe Dreamweaver and you have done already the requirement evaluation and established that Dreamweaver will help you to get the software, you visit, allow me now, open the browser. I hope you still can see. I hope you still can see. Okay. We always use a website called getintopc.com. There are very many other websites you can use to look for the software you want to install on your on your computer. I've just launched here the website. One of the websites we use to get software, getintopc.com. You can also give a search to Google. So I'm taking a case study where I want Adobe Dreamweaver, and I want to get that software. So visit the website and then type there Adobe Dreamweaver. Yeah, Adobe Dreamweaver. Perhaps let me start with Adobe Illustrator. Just illustrating one because I've already designed the software, rather downloaded the software, and I may not download it. If I want to obtain Adobe Illustrator as one of the examples I listed, you visit the website, type in software. There will be very many versions. You have already established the version which you are interested in, maybe done some background consultation. Whenever you click on the Adobe Illustrator, they will give you all the requirements that tell you the tasks Illustrator does, which I began by telling you. Then 2, you look at the features which the software has, and then you look at the requirements the software would need to work very well. One of the factors I put in was the operating system. So for you to install, for example, Adobe Illustrator, you need to have operating system for Windows 10, this version of 2020, which is latest. So different versions will have different requirements for operating system, including the specification of computer, RAM, the hard disk, and the processor. So these factors are very, very important when you are going to design to download software. Finally, just click download and the program will be downloaded to your computer. So that is a quick procedure you would follow to get software at any time, at any time to utilize. So once you've obtained software to install, most of these softwares come with the installation manual. But in the morning, Senior Dumba took us through the process of installing the software. I have this installed, but I've guided that while installing, at least pay very much constant the installation steps, follow the user guide, where possible, where there is payment for the license. We use, in most cases, cracking. You can buy the license, but supporting the software developers will, but oftentimes when you use getintopc.com, they will list what? The cracking tools that you can utilize to have the software fully with full access or full control. So the next thing after you have downloaded the software is to configure. That is the practical exercise number 3 under the training manual. So utilizing the software, most of these softwares come along with the user manuals. So these user manuals assist in configuring and setting up software. What you are required to do is to read and interpret and then run the design software. I want to take an example. I'll be showing you one of practical how to use eDraw to make some design layouts. So what I did primarily first was I downloaded eDraw using the same procedure. The software I'm going to use is called eDraw. So I downloaded it from getintopc.com. It's called Wondershare DrawMax. So having downloaded it, I also looked for the user manual through the internet. I typed there Wondershare, Wondershare, eDraw, eDraw Max user manual. So all these softwares have user manual. I'd already downloaded the user manual, and here I have one on my screen. I just want to show you what a user manual always have. In most cases, if you want to selectively teach or help learners learn. So I'll be showing you how we can use it. Yes, please.
You are sharing only, I don't know if we have been sharing the browser to show us that, but we have been seeing the PowerPoint, so make sure you are sharing the right screen.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. The feedback. Okay. So, eDraw. Can you people see the screen, eDraw user manual?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. So this user manual, one, has guidelines on how to configure. There are very many chapters here entailing different guidelines on how you can utilize it. See, from starting it, the introduction, that is in the interface, like I'll be showing you later on how to use it. Different parts, the window, and then later on the step-by-step process in using the software. So I would want to encourage us to always utilize the user manuals when using the software, because it will help you be in position to use the software successfully. Okay, we now want to continue to the next step. Allow me again to share my screen. So after we have configured the software, the next thing is now for us to begin using the softwares. We've downloaded the software very well, and through the process, we have got the user manuals that are helpful. We have read and internalized. How then do we continue to use the software? The second learning, working activities in creating brand identity. Now, brand identity includes all the visual elements associated with your brand. You note that when I did show you this example of a layout, somewhere there was a logo. So logo here is an element. The navigation matches to a section. Inside the navigation, you can have elements like buttons, helpful for navigating from one page to another. So these sections in this layout can contain very many elements. So while creating brand identity, there are different things we can create. We can create logo, then we can also manage typography, manage colors, web design, then social media handles. I want us to begin with color schemes. First, in this second part of our module, I'll be going through, then we with it later through a discussion, sharing experience. So in color scheming, there are normally guidelines we provide. First, you look at the colors in the logo, where you'll have a business venture and you are designing a website for a client. The choice of the colors determined first by the brand colors of the company. Look at the colors the company has adopted, maybe in the using the logo, then try to create schemes that palettes that match along brands. But just simple guidelines I'm giving. First, theoretically, one always keep simple. I've already talked about brand colors. And while choosing the choice the colors, try to be consistent. Home page, about page, up to all the pages of the website. And be mindful that you can have primary and secondary colors. Yeah, so primary would be brand colors, and then secondary would be supportive colors. Okay, I have an example color scheme here with all the different colors, with all the different colors, including different levels of what? Intensity. I'm going to get back to this again, discussion, because this is a very, very important element in a website design or layout. If you're going to have a website a client would like, then the colors must be highly put in consideration. The second part is fonts. Fonts are collective, also known as typography, adds all the styles, all the technique writing characters, shape characters. So just as you know, there are very many types of characters or many type faces or font faces. But while choosing your font face for the website, always be limit the choice, and choice either be in different sections of websites, the headers, the paragraphs, so on. Then I've encouraged us to use sans serif fonts. What are sans serif fonts? I'm giving a demonstration. Then say size your fonts appropriately. When you have chosen font face, the size of the font have to match along. I want to give an example of a website here. I have a website here that I did work out. We collectively worked at. Okay. So this website is Bugema Adventist Secondary School. I don't know whether you people can see my screen. Just have some feedback as we continue. Can you people see my screen?
Yes, I can see the screen, sir.
So in this layout, I have the header area. Then I have the menu. I have this part here, the slider. Then I have other sections. Now we are talking about fonts, and one of the guidelines I've given is you must use sans serif fonts. And sans serif fonts without a serif. That's fonts without a serif. There are many sans serif fonts. We have Ubers, have Helvetica, and so many others. You can try to do some research about the font faces that are sans serif. So if you take a look at this website for Bugema, I just extracted one page, the background page. In the background page here, that is below the About Us. I have a page called Background. I have a heading, which is a level here. Then I have a subheading. Then I have other paragraphs. I want you to look at the fonts here. The font here, later on I'll be sharing, as we continue with the course, the different types of the software here. But in the example, you recall, on the list there was WordPress. So we used WordPress to this website. So we have Monstera as one of the fonts I'm using here. Then I also have Playfair Display, and then I have Helvetica. Helvetica was an example of font face that is sans serif. You look at that website and give some feedback later as we continue how the layout is, and then how about also how the colors and then the fonts are appearing based on the guidelines I've given. Make it short and we do some practical. Allow me to share the screen and we conclude this. So the conclusively about the font guide appealed to us to limit the number of font faces. Then we use sans serifs for the text. The headers can take other levels, but at least even when you are going to vary the font faces, try to be consistent for all the headers or vary limitatively. Now, lastly, we have logos. A good website, like you saw in the layout, should have a logo. And, a logo is an image that is made up either of text and images that identifies a company, organization. So most of the websites that will hire you may already have the logo. So you'll save yourself that process of creating a logo, the web for the company. But in case you got a client who does not have a logo, then they will add you that creating for them. Now the software, the design software you'll use in that case is on your expertise. But with the experience we can use there, Adobe Illustrator, Adobe InDesign, Adobe Photoshop design. Once the software has been designed to have the logo designed, open the software and then create a new project, follow some guidelines. Now, I wanted to have a demonstration here, and we have an interaction. It is 18 minutes to 9. So the last part in our designing a layout, don't forget, number 1 was design software. Number 2, creating brand identity. Number 3, creating website mockups. What are website mockups? Mockup is a static design website that features many of its design elements. Remember, when you're going to design a website, you need to have a good planning process to prevent yourself from redesigning or having to read things at an advanced stage when you spent a lot of time coding or implementing. So mockups can help us create static cases, layouts, or appearances to help our clients approve how the website will look like. And in creating mockups, we have first thing we raise, which is creating wireframe. What is a wireframe? Wireframe is an illustration pages interface that specifically focuses on the space allocation and prioritization of content. I would, in a nutshell, say wireframes help us to create a visual framework, how the website would function, how the website like. So procedure normally is by following the following steps. Review the collected requirements. Remember, the client has filled the form, has sent you a list of things, or you have had the interaction with them and you have written what they want. So now have to draw use cases to summarize out that functionality of the site. Now, let us try to do some practical here. If you can check here in an example of a wireframe, I have a sketch here. You can implement wireframes either using a piece of paper and a pen, that is trying to come up with appearance, how you're going to use your space on the page, and also showing requirements or fulfilling requirements for the user. Maybe you want to create here a logo, you want to have navigation links, you have to put image and several parts, just as may be required. Now, how do we create wireframes? There are many softwares that you can utilize to create wireframes. But I wanted to showcase you a very powerful software which is known as Hydro Max. Remember, instructions have shown you how you can obtain Hydro, and through the morning session, we have connected how we can install the software. Now, how do we use the software? So the first step is going to be launching the software. Once the software has been installed, go to the start button and launch Hydro Max. So that is a common example I'm going to use, but time allows, I can also demonstrate the online versions. This software can be cracked, and maybe later on I can show how to crack it. But this is how the interface looks like. Recall, in the user manual, they guided us on various parts of this window. Apparently, you can recall there was this part here where we have the canvas, have symbol, library, context pan, the ribbon, and then the quick access tool. That is in our money. Now I have the software here. So I want to quickly show you how we create the wireframe, and then I would show you the parts. So why I like this software personally, because it is rich in templates that the tutor or the teacher can use and perhaps guide the students to come up with good designs. So let's get started. The first step is to make sure the software does several things. You can check here under new. We have basic, we have business, then we have software data. There are many other parts here. I want us to focus ourselves on design. Select new, browse to design, and under design here, Are you able to hear me? Just some feedback.
Yes.
Very good. So the wireframes and mockups under UI and UX. So we click on UI and UX. So under UI and UX, we have website wireframe, Windows UI, iPhone. There are different designs we can come up with, but let's focus ourselves on a website wireframe. So when I click on website wireframe, they are, of course, templates. You can either create from blank or you can have a template. First, I'm going to show you a template, then create our own from scratch. So let me choose a home page here of the wireframe that is among the templates. When I click on templates, I'm using the zoom out to show you this. Few people can see properly. Remember, this part is called the canvas. Canvas. This is the ribbon that in other applications, then we have the menu bar as well. So here we have the logo, menu, then we have the different sections our website is supposed to have. So if you have a picture of how you want your website to look like, then you can create it from scratch. If you don't have, you can always go to a template, like I've opened one, look at how this website has been sketched, and then later on you begin sketching your own, or you can even share with the client to have a proof. But some clients will give you already design. In my case here, I'm going to implement something like this. I have a website for Gamer, and I have the header area, which has information. Then I have this one. Now, why we have to draw wireframes is because we don't have to give clients links to different websites to see before they make a decision. We can simply create frameworks. So wireframes, instead of having the real content, help us just create representations of how the website will look like. So we're going to create a wireframe to see how you would make a sketch for a client to have a website like this one. I'll be limiting only the home page and perhaps this first header area, in the navigation area together with this slider image. So let's have our window back. I want us to create now. Allow me close from here. I'm not going to save because it was a template. Then I'm going to go home like I did, back to new, go under UI and UX. Instead of using templates, I'm going to click blanket drawing. Blanket drawing. When I click blanket drawing, I have a free paper, just as you'd use a free paper to make a sketch. This is digital sketching. Now, there are sections in this software that I would want you to know. I recall in our manual, if you recall, we have the symbol library, the canvas, context page, then the footer. So in this software, this part is the symbol library, this is the canvas, and then this is the context page. So I want to begin with this symbol library website wireframe 1. When I click this symbol library, there are many content that we can add, but Allow me drag, since in our sketch we have a logo. Maybe before we put a logo, we can begin by creating. We can begin by creating a main part. To show we are going to sketch our website. So I'm looking for the icon here. Just looking through the icons. I want to drag this icon this side. Now, this icon represents the images. Instead of having an image, you can use this icon to show I'll have an image here. If at all you're going to have an image here. In our sketch, like you saw in this website, I have a logo here. Then I have contact details. Still have location, have the social media handles. So I will drag the logo, I put the logo here. After I've placed the logo, I then look for text because I want to have text. So you look for an icon of text. Icon of text. Just have to always browse and utilize these icons accordingly. So I have my text here. Then the text here, you double click inside, give it, these are going to be our contacts. So we put contact inside. Then after the contact, you recall, we also had the other area to bear the address. So I drag this side and then I double click inside, I put location. Then after that, I add the other side, the social media handles. So the social media handles, the icons are very many. You can use the real icons here in the library, or you can use representations. Icons are images. Where you don't have these icons, you may be using a design software where the icons are not there. So in some sketches, you'll see when the developers have sketched with images to show that this part will have the images, then they'll put here the logo name of the social media icon. But if you're using software which already has icons, then you browse and look for the icon that you want to utilize in that case quickly. For my case, I want to identify the Facebook icon because I have it here. It's a representation. Much as we're using the icons, they are not going to be active. I want to have Facebook, I have Twitter. Maybe I can neglect this, and maybe I would have the email. If you want to be very specific, the website, I have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then YouTube. So you look for all those icons. Instagram is here. Then I have the last one, which is YouTube. So we look for the design icon for YouTube. If it's not there, then in the sketch, you can provide just an image. You can have a simple image here as YouTube. Double click inside and put YouTube. Label it properly, YouTube icon. Now, after we have finished the header area, the next is to have the navigation pane. Now, the navigation, a composition or collection of buttons. So you can always look for buttons, and buttons are very many icons. Create them. Once you have one, here we remain anonymous because we don't know. If the client, if you've already made identification of maybe you want this to be home, then you label it. Where you are absolutely sure I would want to have that. Then the software is user-friendly. It's like the Office. So according to the school website, I have About Us, just to sample the interest of time. About Us. And then lastly, maybe let me also contact page. Copy, paste, Control V. Then here, I click inside and contact us. I just use the representation in the interest of time. We can repeat the process accordingly. So we're done with the logos, the header area. We have finished the navigation pane. The next part is to show the widget here, the slider. So to have the slider still, we go to our icons library, symbol library, drag the symbol of the icon. Remember, the slider consists of images, so we can simply drag this, stretch it horizontally, and then I double click inside. I label it properly. Image slider representing, since it is a school website, image slide representing school activities. So you can continue with the process to include other elements, and you don't mind of the canvas. If in the design, if the canvas cannot allow your content, you keep adding. I'm going to show you how you expand the canvas. If you want to add text, say you drag the placeholder and then you find its size, its width, put there the content, or you leave it blank, just a representation of content. You wanted to have a video, also drag item, expand it, and then put there all what it is required. So you can continue until you even finish the footer. This is what we call wire framing. You're making a visual framework, how the website will function. Once you're done with this sketch, the software allows you to export it and click File, click Save As, and you choose where you want to save. Maybe I want it on desktop. This is, you can even choose the layout, rather the file type, wish to publish. Like me, maybe I want to send to a client via email, or I want it to be PDF, pending. Then give it a name, so the home page sketch. And then after that, I click Save. My PDF will be created. So because I've not yet activated it, you can see it has apparently the footer, rather the watermark for Wondershare. But after I've cracked it, I can use it at full version. Even at this level, we can group items. I promised at the very beginning, where you want to change the page layout, you can always go to page layout, and then under fit to drawing. That is in case you have finished drawing all the elements and you want the canvas to only put the elements you have drawn. Let me get some feedback. Teacher John. Teacher John?
Yes.
Oh, yes, please.
Have you been following closely?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
I have been. I've been.
Oh, now this, I don't know how you rate the software, Wondershare, but we, in the just interest of the time, if you cannot download this, just to show you the other you can use, you can use the online version, pro.io.
Okay.
There's another design software that can still.
Maybe that one of online.
Can also always use. Why I didn't want to demonstrate online versions is because in some school settings, there is no internet, no live internet connection. So if you wanted to draw the diagrams online and perhaps relieve yourself process of downloading and then maybe activating tracking, then you can use some available software you can use. You can use Figma, you can also use draw.io. When you go to draw.io, remember, here I clicked draw.io and the browser I typed draw.io, and then from the search results I click paste link here. So you can create a new diagram. and still using the same process of wireframe. I want you to try it. I'm going to ask that you do this as an assignment and share to us via the Google Classroom. I'm going to create the assignment immediately after this. But try out. You can choose to use eDraw, or you can use the draw.io. That is in case you can't download. In both cases, we will have a successful implementation of wireframes, which are very important tools to use in the planning process. So colleagues, that is all briefly about the wireframing. We can have, can utilize the user manual that we shall be sharing with via the Google Classroom to read, analyze on the different tools in the software. Now, finally, for this presentation is the mockups. How do you create a mockup? Because wireframe is just a representation. It's a representation. You try to use abstract images or abstract items to show how the website would look like. But if you're going to draw a mock-up, or you want to draw a website mock-up, then you'll have to use the real images. The same software is utilized, eDraw. I will just have to share the screen and launch to give the guidelines. Allow me share the screen again. Here we may not have to complete the real process, but at least you can follow the process. So in wireframing, we use representation. You have this box, for example, cross diagonally to represent an image. Different icons which have different purposes. Track the manual. If we are drawing a mock-up, if you are drawing a mock-up, you can see in this presentation, if you're drawing a mock-up, then the guidelines are simple. You add visuals to the wireframes. You replace the wireframes or the representations with the actual content. When you're going to make a mock-up, then it would mean you have collected pictures from the client. Maybe the client has already sent you a text. A good common similarity between the wireframe and the mock-up is that they are both static. They just help us to have a sketch on how a website will look like. Remember we said they help give the static or the visual framework of how the website will look like. The wireframe, we use abstract representation, and in the mock-up, we use the real content the client has given us to first give him a sketch so that when we begin writing the code, it does not have to make us to redesign. Now, how do we now design a mock-up using this procedure? Now that we have a simple, we have a simple use case. This is a simple use case. The logo, then the content. So I'm not going to remove this file. I'm just going to click File again, and then I go to New, like I did previously. Go to UI and UX. I'm going to choose blank, and then here, this case, in the symbol library, can you observe the symbol library? I will even begin by showing how the website is going to look like. I've dragged one of the elements here. You can always take cursor and hover it over an icon to get the name of the icons. These icons have names. So to learn the name, take the cursor icon. So in this case, name of the web page, let's imagine I'm drawing for Bugema. In the planning process, we help them to reserve a domain. And their domain is www.bugema.adventistss.sc.ug. Sorry. .scug. bugemaadventist.sc.ug. The next thing in our sketch, if you recall, where in the sketch, in the wireframe, we had a logo. So you have already collected information from Bugema and they have given you a logo. So insert it as a picture. You go to insert and click on the picture icon and then browse where that picture is. In this case, allow me add the logo for the school. Add the logo because the client has already given me the information. So I don't need now to use abstract representation. And after I've done that, I now look for, again, in the sketch recall, we have somewhere the contact. And the contact in the form the client has filled, he has provided you the information. So don't again use abstract representation. Create the real content. And where you want the bullets, you can always look for bullets still here and then add the bullets. I want to look for here, which is having the bullets. Having the bullets. This is something else. Something else. Let me look at the use case first of all. The first here, okay, just maybe to save time here. The contact, let me imagine the first tail number is 07. Maybe I would just use the real icons. Please, I'm not giving the school number, but I am imagining the client has already given me the number, and this is the school number that I have received from them. You can always resize this, like you're using Adobe Publisher or Microsoft Word to create a text box. I can provide all the other contacts while I'm just trying to press enter, but allow me only use that in the interest of time as the since even here I gave one. Still under location, I can choose to duplicate that, or I can do another same shape. I give it still contact details. And for me, because I have the website and I want to save time, I'll just come here, say this. But when you are coming up normally with these sketches, you not have you will not have the info. So it is important that you first do what? Do wireframes. But after the client has filled the form, you no longer now have to use abstract representation. True. Okay. Lastly, to conclude, I have the social media handles. This space we can always expand. Let's expand this. The social media handles that are in the last category, I will have them added still. Have them added. Maybe somewhere Instagram. This may remain the same. This may remain the same. Because even in the earliest case, then, okay, let me end at that point, in the interest of time. So I have the menu, and in the menu case, to check in my use case, this menu is first of all having a container, which is having a color. I could not show that in what? In the wireframe. So I need to show that background. So I choose a section, or choose a section which can allow me implement that accordingly. Please note that in the so after you have done, you can always change the background and put according the colors of the user. So also the picture, remember in the wireframe we had just a representation, an abstract icon to show the picture. Here we've collected information for the client. So to add a picture, go to Insert tab, click Picture, then locate or browse where the pictures are that the client has given you. So in my case, allow me to add any picture here. Now, the next lesson, we are going to talk about governing multimedia. For now, I am adding content, but it's very important that you have guidelines. You prepare your images according to the rules that govern the pictures that we shall guide you accordingly. So the don'ts is you're not supposed to stretch a picture like that. That is one don't that we tend to discuss on later on as we continue. So in the real design environment, you can always control this picture to fit entire area. Here I can move the picture up and use bring forward. I pressed Control Shift, greater than sign, the curly brackets to control the location of the picture. I think in the interest of time, can I have another representation? I can just go to the website and copy content. The goal here is just to show us how we can utilize this. And may not have a detailed session to do all this practically to the complete dot, but just to show representations of content, like want the website to take. I'm just taking a look of this one. This was content, so I'm looking for a content. Sorry, go back to drawing. I want to look at content. I think that is in 1 for content. The content box there, then paste the content and put it there. Paste the content and put it there. I think that serves all what I wanted to show you. In a tool here. So colleagues, I know if we had enough time, we would have to utilize this to go through. I've had this in rush hour, but once you have finished drawing everything, you go to page layout tab and then you click fit the drawing to the grid. That is to have everything you have drawn fit. While you're drawing, it's waste your time trying to, let me check the design, whether it has compressed my work. Control Z a little bit to earliest task. Then Control Z to undo the earliest task. I think the challenge I have at hand here is layout to have my design completed successfully. But all in all, you have had the guideline on how you can utilize this. I have to go back, organize my content to fit the widget. I can have members to have some feedback. Mr. Mukalele, if you have some guidelines to offer as well, as I try to customize this look professional, I would invite you to as well make some comments. The interest of time, colleagues that have utilized this before. Mr. Mukalele, if you can hear me, I want to invite you, Mr. Dumba, colleagues on call, as we wind up our discussion. Mr. Mukalele?
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Mukalele.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Wagisha. I see you have really tried to the wireframes and mockups sometimes confuse them, but thank you very much for elaborating and trying to demonstrate. And that tool of Hydromax is very, 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 very good. I would encourage all members to go to getintopc.com and download and be able to try it out, not only for these diagrams, but even for many other diagrams. Now, there is something I've shared in the group. When you look at the assessment, the way the assessment is done, learners are having around 6 hours, and depending on what the task is, the time for all these softwares and what may not be there, but it depends on what they will do. So it is also acceptable to design, to come up with a wireframe using pen and paper. It is also allowed, even when we're in the world of work sometimes. So there's a video which I shared. I shared a video here in the group. It was a small video. It was showing how to, it was just a small illustration. So there are very many videos there on YouTube that you will see. So this person first came up with a list of the things that he wants to have in the design. And then after that, got a pen and paper and tried to design and come up with a wireframe. So this could be a quick plan on how the website is going to be laid out. So this could be a quick one. So when it comes to assessment here in the DIT, learners don't have to skip. I know many of us, we just get our maybe WordPress what, and we just design what, we get a theme and what, we don't, but it is very important that a client actually gets an impression of what is needed, even for your planning before you implement. It makes the design process more complete. So we should get in this. Mr. Ogisha, are you hearing me?
Very clearly.
Yes. So that is what I wanted to emphasize, that Idiomax is important. Let us install and get learners, because in the world of work, you may need to have your mockups and the wireframes digitized, and whereby you can easily deliver them to the client, or you can also use them for other references. But also using pen and paper can be good to help you, first of all, visualize what you want. Then from there, you shall be developing the same layout. Thank you very much. I see Wamala as if he had a hand. Wamala, did you have a question?
Yes, Mr. Mukelele. But let me first thank Mr. Ogisha for the presentation. For sure, really, it was wonderful. But my question is, for sure you left me. The way how you do, like, for example, you have been using Wondershare, and it was a little bit speedy. So I don't know whether, if possible, and we can do it together, because some of us, we have laptops, like we have 2 laptops, we have like other desktops. If possible, we can do together. That might be better. But for sure, you have gone through. I was trying to record. I was trying. You got this step because of time. So my humble request is that I don't know whether, but for sure it was speedy. Then another thing, the website, because most of us were okay. Our emphasis was all about WordPress, but we have given us some software that you can use when developing website like Illustrator and the others. So purposely coding, are we going to use like 2 softwares? Because if you see WordPress, there is no little bit of coding. There is no almost coding. Are we going to use like 2 softwares, or are we going to consider only one type of software? Thank you, Mr. Ogisha.
Yes. Mr. Amala, thank you very much for your question. And I want to respond to it. One, I noted when we were starting this program that we are supposed to teach learners for 3 years. But we are doing this, going through this in 1 week, in 2 weeks. So you don't. So you find that the time it may not be there for us to do all the practical exercises during this Zoom session. But We are sharing with you all the tools, and we are going to be sharing with you, for example, when it comes to this software for Wondershare, we have a complete tutorial showing how to draw and how to utilize the tools. So we are going to give you these resources on Google Classroom. And secondly, when we have our physical workshop and we meet, we are going to choose which of the practical exercises we shall do in the physical workshop. So one, I want you to know that within this Zoom session, we not expect to tell you to open your laptop, download the software, install. By the time you finish installing, the time will be really out. So after the Zoom session, please proceed, and the recording is there. Even if Mr. Ogisha has been very fast, you can play back as you pause and you also try out what he has done. So you can download the software and then you try out. So like I said, this is a compressed version, and that's why we're emphasizing that members, when they are coming on this call, we want members who can easily get an overview and have as practitioners. Now, secondly, web design is not about just a software. What we are doing now is in phases. Planning website development is a module. Designing the website is not yet developing it. Mr. Ogisha, in this session, we've been looking at designing it, like coming up with the plan on how the designer will be using those softwares, the graphic softwares and all that. You can even use online tools and what he has been sharing in the world of work. Now, after this, we are going to look at developing now the website, and we shall start with coding HTML. It's not just going to WordPress. That is not a web developer. A web developer should know the tools, the graphic tools, and then should know HTML. WordPress can be used even, you can code even in WordPress. WordPress allows switching between code view and the graphic view. So we are going to start with HTML, CSS. We shall go through that. And then after that, we shall look at the CMS, using CMS like WordPress or any other CMS to design, and page builders like Elementor. Yeah, so it's not that in the old curriculum we could just open maybe Expression Web and start designing, or Publisher, or you just open a software and you use it to design a website. It is much more than that. It starts from planning, dealing with the clients. Now here, wireframing, designing logos, using fonts and colors and branding. And now we have not started developing the website. I don't know whether I've tried to answer you, but we are going to share some resources online, but even during the physical workshop, we shall give you all these softwares on DVD and on flash disk. We shall give you all these softwares during the workshop, and even the book. The books we are going to be, and I'm urging members who have paid only 50,000, please to pay more so that we can be able to, we are going to order for the books. We are planning to do it on Friday, and then we shall see how we can send. These books have more details of all these processes that we are going through. They have the notes. Yeah, Mr. Wamala, I don't know whether I've tried to clarify on that, but that is what, so we are having a quick overview of these sessions, but we are going to give you more resources, and then you should take time hands-on, and we are always there to support you in case you reach out to us.
Okay, Mr. Lodge, thank you so much. Now, my other question: how many days are we going to meet for the physical?
Hello, pardon.
Thank you for the answers, but my question again, it is how many days are we going to meet for the workshop? Physical workshop.
Yes. Yeah, so Mr. Wamala, we are planning to do everything in 2 days. Because as you know, the charges, we are going to hire a school, and where we can all fit, and then shall be there. we want to have the first day to have a recap of, and then we are going to plan the workshop activities. Then from there, the second day, that's when we expect even to get the assessors to come. So it will be more briefing, but we expect that you are practicing and you're practicing on these areas that you, so when you come, it will just be a matter of doing a mock. So we shall give you a DIT kind of question, and then you do and practice through so that the next day you are ready to be assessed. Yeah, so please try to practice whatever we are teaching here. The materials and resources should be able to, which we are going to give you, should be able to help you to. So after this session, get Hydromax, try to install it. In case of anything, reach out to us. We can be able to, in the group, let us utilize the groups and do the assignments. Then we shall be able to achieve what we want. Okay. So I think I don't know if there's any other question, but I want to thank Mr. Ajak John, Namata Shakira, Mr. Ashika, and all the other members who have been on throughout. Yeah, so we appreciate the feedback. And Mr. Ogisha, you can say a final remark and then close the meeting.
All right, now, Mr. Omala, just to give you hope, you can, at the end of this, achieve a very big experience. Like he has guided, we are doing these things at a very high rate to completion, but we're offering materials. We're also offering a high-level procedure on how members can also go back and prepare the planners or the I want to encourage us to download the software, go through Hydromax, and I also want to appeal to any other person who may get another challenge to always reach to us to have them guided accordingly. Then perhaps maybe as a pledge, we can share with you the strategies to utilize when you're going through this, in case you love to internalize and grasp, but normal as said, we learn by doing. So those colleagues who will utilize the day tomorrow to go through this, will be better. You watch the video, or pause as you go through this. Otherwise, thank you for attending. I look forward to seeing you again as we still keep exploring other parts which we have to take in consideration when teaching. Mr. Mkalele, thank you for guidance and thank you for meeting us all. I want to wish all the participants a good night. You'll be available later on. Otherwise, but seeing you tomorrow.